Skip ahead 4 seconds.
Project
Loading.
Podcast.
And launch button 1 of 2.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Sullivan Project Podcast. I'm your host, Harold Sullivan.
Skip back 11 seconds. 0 seconds.
I'm Kobe Bryant, number 24 for the Los Angeles Lakers. Check out the Sullivan Project Podcast. Harold is a winner.
What's up? Thanks, Kobe.
Pause. And you
Still getting used to this technical crap here. Usually do that at the beginning, but I didn't want to waste y'all on there for a few seconds. The freaking button went backwards. I don't know. We're going to talk about that here in a minute, though, this remote. I got a new Roku remote, and I'm trying to do all this easier and quicker, being disabled. I lost my sight 4 years ago, over 4 years about. In June, it was 4. So, yeah. And I was born with an autoimmune disease, and I haven't been able to walk since I was a child, about 8, 9 years old. I've been in a power chair. And it just shows you, I'm almost 47, and everyone has a story, and you can't judge a book by its cover. And that's what this podcast is all about. All right? You don't know what people are going through. Don't wish you was ever someone because of what they got going on inside. You have no clue. You just look at the outside. Oh, that person's this and this. I don't want to be anybody. Ever. When I was younger, I was in the same thing. I wanted to be, compared to other stuff. No. There's a reason why you are you. There's a reason why certain things are the way they are only for you. And even if you're going through pain, you just got to hang on for a moment. Call the show if you need someone to talk. I put my number here, 724-513-1472. You can email hs19782015@outlook.com. And you can find us on YouTube and TikTok under Harold Sullivan 78, and Facebook is Harold Sullivan _35. And you can email, call, like I said, leave comments if you want to be on the show. Right now we're just doing audio. I don't have any ways to do Zoom and messengers and stuff, so we're doing audio. We can record that, or you can just get out a message. I'll do it for you. I'll get it out on leave a voicemail. I might answer. Like I said, I'll put my number on here to talk. If somebody needs something, I can offer that. I can listen, I can talk. We can all do that. We've all had people that are going through stuff, and they don't have someone to call. And maybe I know someone that committed suicide. So if you know people, you know what I mean, answer that phone. Like, you could have helped somebody, and you don't realize it. So I'm just trying to teach people, or help people to be the light and to be better. Not hurt each other, not trying to do all these bad things to get stuff. Like they're just killing themselves and each other and everybody, and they don't think anything matters. And I just don't understand. But maybe you got to go through stuff sometimes to get to the other side to realize it, I was already born disabled, and I just let it pile on me for years and years and years and years until I lost my sight. And then I figured out I wasn't just being piled on. I wasn't being born punished, being disabled. I've been able to, they found it when I was 2 years old. That's when I started falling down when I was in pain. So, you know what I mean? I don't believe that God or all or creation, whatever, is cruel. It wouldn't punish a baby, right? You don't punish babies. So I had to realize all that, and now I'm cool. I still go through stuff. Because when you're at the level I'm at now, it's hard to come back down here and kind of deal with human type deals, stuff that isn't as important. It is to a lot of people, but not to me anymore because I'm enlightened, But we're going to talk about Smallville Season 6 and a few other things here. And like I said, I got a new Roku remote, so this is my third remote, all right? I have a Roku TV. It comes with a standard remote. A lot of people don't know you can buy a voice remote, and then you can buy a better voice remote. So I bought the voice remote for $2 for $20 about 6 months ago on Amazon. Of course, these things don't last long. Nothing lasts long on Amazon electronics. And they said it was past the thing, so they couldn't help me out with it. It was expired warranty on their warranty anyway. Roku doesn't have any contact for a real person. You have to email. I just saw it like a orb bill by. You have to email them or contact them online. So I couldn't even call them when I was having trouble with the TV because the Roku stuff was going bad. Anyway, the only button that quit working was the microphone button on the remote, the Roku remote control. Because that's how you talk to it and you tell it what to do. Otherwise, it's a regular remote control. So anyway, after 2 days of that not working, and me just sitting here, because it's hard to scroll up and down, and you got to try to find the letters and type in and click on them without being able to see if you don't have the voice remote. So I got one that was $30, which is the same as that one, except for this one is chargeable. You don't have to put batteries in the back. And I'm not sure, or it has headphone jack, so you can listen to it from the remote, I guess. So now this one's working. Yesterday there were some problems, but I think that it's connected somehow through Amazon stuff, and whenever their Alexas and their devices, the talking things aren't working, it affects a lot of other stuff. And it's just not Amazon, it's just not one thing. It's like all these other things connected that you wouldn't think. So it wasn't working, but I got the new remote now. But that's 3 remotes I've had to get for that. I mean, this is just silly. And Amazon still sucks, so we're going to talk about that a little bit too. 4.5 hours I was calling them the other day because first of all, when I first started calling them, when I lost my eyesight, there was no special needs department or whatever. I had to just keep calling and calling, and they wouldn't verify me to talk to me because I couldn't click a link or a text or whatever. So somehow they set up a blind department, accessibility department. I'm guessing because of me, but that's segregation or discrimination that I have to talk to a certain department, right? So I got their number in the phone, and then I start calling that number, and they can verify me with information, but the other departments can't. I get it's discrimination. Whatever reason, it's a discrimination, and I'm against all that. So these people, 4.5 hours, I'm trying to call them, and they would not help me because they discontinued that part, they said. But yet the line is there and the people are answering it, but they said they can't verify me to talk to me about my own account because I can't prove who I am. And the reason I wanted to call them is because I used a SNAP card the night before. The SNAP benefits finally came. The government was shut down, and we didn't have I had to buy food. I was buying food with cash, you know. But anyway, the government shut down. These things came, and I wanted to get a couple of things on Amazon to get delivered because you can do that. It has to be eligible items from Amazon, and you could use your SNAP card and put in your PIN. Well, I did that. My sister helped me, my caregiver, and it said it was all good and all that. And then they went and charged my bank card instead and took the money out of my ATM. I don't know how that's even possible. And then so I had to argue with them, but they said they would refund me and cancel the stuff. So I'm waiting on that. But it was $99, and all it was some those pretzel snacks, some bags, and then some cheesecake sample slices that I wanted to get. 4.5 hours, go through all that. I don't know how they made that mistake. You know what I mean? But Amazon still sucks. Okay, their customer service is terrible. They used to help me look up stuff that I could add to my cart to order because I'm blind again, and they're sending me the wrong stuff or having me look up the wrong stuff, and then I got to fight to try to get money back because once they take your money, the odds of you getting it back, or it's very hard. They take it instantly, but to put it back, you notice that it takes days or longer. I wanted to mention a couple angels. I've been talking about people that have passed recently that I knew, and I'm probably mentioned their names again recently, but maybe they're around and it's just telling me. But there's a couple of Joes I knew, and then a Todd, who actually was my landlord for a minute. And I didn't know he died until years later. Greg knew him growing up. Greg's been on the podcast several times. But he told me he had a Todd. I'm thinking he said he overdosed because he was on some drugs. But anyway, I rented a place only for a month from this dude. But we used to talk and hang out in the bars. But, we weren't like all that close. Anyway, He used to he knocked on my window at like 2 a.m. trying to get me to give him some of my pain pills at the time. I was getting OCs back then. Because like I said, I've been on pain pills since I was 21 baby aspirins. No, I'm not. I'm not anything but medical marijuana that I vape and eat gummies. That's it. I don't drink anymore. None of that. So I used to do all that. I only weigh 70 pounds at the most. I'm 4 foot tall, a little over 4 feet. So I've been through stuff. But yeah, he was trying to do that. And then he was like, "Oh, you can even pay me in rent." No, season. This dude, like, just Jesus. It wasn't a good experience. I had to get out of there. But then I did the dumb thing by signing a 1 year lease in the bar, which they say never sign nothing in a bar. And my nephew and his buddy was going to live with me, and all three of us were going to split the bills and have a place, you know. And it was garbage. There was a refrigerator in there with old food, rotted. The shower didn't work. The stove didn't work. He he wouldn't even put in a ramp. He said he would have it built before I even moved in, and then he didn't do it while I was in there. But I signed a lease, okay, and then I moved out after a month. The dude actually took me to court. But thank God they only gave me one. I said I had to pay him like $700 because uh, supposedly when I left, my nephew or whoever was there and the other guy graffitied the house, actually painted it inside, and they were doing weird stuff like taping or nailing grilled cheeses and empty cigarette boxes to the ceilings and egging. There's a room they egged. Like I don't know why they did all this after I moved out, and I was liable. But he took me to court for $700 because he wanted money to paint and redo like whatever damages they did, and him losing a month rent, I think, $350. But he could have got me the 11 months, you know. But I had to pay him $100 a month out of my Social Security, and you know what? None of them, I don't think none of them even gave me. I think the one dude gave me $20 one time because I said, y'all should at least help me pay some of this, right? But he started avoiding me after that and just took off. That's something, you know. But anyway, God bless Todd. He was fun when we hung out. He made me laugh, but he also had addiction. You got to remember that addiction is sickness. Mental illness is sickness. That's not the person, you know. But there are limits you can deal with. You know what I mean? You can't use that as an excuse. Uh, Also, mood. Let me tell you a little bit about that. MOOD. I just ate the brownie bites I got from them, and I'm trying to taffy. Very good. I did figure this out. CBD. Okay, it's helping me anyway to go to the bathroom. It helps relax. So when you eat that or vape it or whatever, that mixed with the THC or whatever, or maybe just CBD for you might work. But I tried CBD before, just CBD candy or gummies, and it kind of made my stomach a little yucky. But uh, I've been getting these Rice Krispies and different things from Mood.com. And again, they're not a sponsor or anything. I just buy them. But I have problems going poo. You know, like I said, there was pain pills in the past, the way my body is, and who knows what. So I only go every few days. And there was a time in the past I went 6 months without going, and I was throwing up when I ate all the time. So I'm lucky to be alive. And I've had to have enemas before and suppositories, anything you could think of. But actually, this stuff here, CBD, seems to help me relax. And if I eat some of that stuff with CBD in it, cookies or whatever, I go away. Uh, I don't know, smoother, I guess. No pun intended. So there's a recommendation for people. Try that if you're having problems, if you have stomach problems and that. CBD seems to help a little. Computer, what are my stickies?
I found 68 notes. Saw 8 Joe Todd Mood.
Computer, stop. Okay, Saw 8, we're going to review that here. Jigsaw, it's called. They start getting confusing, okay? After 7, I'm not going to do the whole series here. But 7 is like the final chapter, supposedly. And then they start doing like prequels and other movies, 8, 9, and 10. I reviewed 10 recently. I just saw another kind of flashlight or something. Since I lost my sight, there's some blue in front of me, like blue. I started seeing colors and orbs and just all kinds of freaking stuff, like laser beams and images in my head of blueprints, if that makes sense. If any of this makes sense, call the show or email me, message me somehow, because I'm going through a lot of this alone. I'm just on here telling you all this and trying to help people, you know, a voice to the voiceless. And one man is can make a difference. One man is every man. So these are Sullyisms I've been writing. But Saw 8, yeah, it's Jigsaw it's called. And it's kind of maybe a copycat, maybe not. It's always, I really don't, uh, I don't get it, you know. This one, though, actually had his voice and it seemed like he was in it. But it was another one, yeah. After 7, it seemed like it was kind of a prequel, though, because it was more how they were discovering, putting it together, and the name and the puzzle pieces that he cuts out. They forget about that a lot, leave it out, but he usually cuts out. He used to cut out a piece of the person's skin, like in the shape of a puzzle. And then they turned it into just people in traps and gore. But there was a whole story, and that's what I like in the movies. I'm not about the gore, but the writing and the stories, how they connect them all together. And there's backstories, and there's other people helping Jigsaw. Spoilers. So, but it's a terrible. As far I'd give it a 6, and that's probably the lowest rating I've given a movie that I've rated out of the franchise too, and out of movies. Period 6. Saw 8, it's called. All right, and then let's see here. Computer, what are my stickies? This is how I take
found
notes.
68 notes. Saw 8 Joe Todd Move. Remote sphere grumbling scream Smallville 6 Amazon.
Computer, stop. Suck. Okay, Scream 7. There's a trailer now with Ghostface and Cindy. Damn it. Cindy was on Scream or Scary Movie. Cindy and her daughter, a teenage daughter, I guess he's coming after them now. And it's been reported Matthew Lillard is coming back, so I'm thinking he maybe got out of prison. It's been that long, or something. How he escapes, I don't know. But they run down to everything else. They run out of everything else, you know. But again, it's about the story. Who's coming back? Who is it? You know, how they link to the other stories. That's really the only thing about Scream 7. And then Gremlins 3 has been announced officially, finally. But the original director and creator for the first 2 is not going to do it. Chris Columbus, who directed Home Alone. And I think maybe part 2 after that. There's 3 or 4. There's 4 or 5 Home Alones or more now. Those got ridiculous. After the first 2, I wasn't into them. But I have checked them all out, I think. I think Malcolm McDowell from Halloween. We've had him on the podcast, and we've had other cameos. So go check that out. Celebrity cameos. Harold Sullivan 78 on YouTube and TikTok. Harold Sullivan period 35 Facebook. But he was in one. Malcolm McDowell, I believe. He was one of the villains. Yeah, Gremlins 3 show. I don't know what the story is. There was a Gremlins cartoon recently called Secrets of the Mogwai, which I listened to a few seconds. I couldn't get into it. So maybe they did that as a test kind of to see if people were still into it. But I mean, everybody loved the Gremlins. How can you not be into Gremlins? You know, there was only 2. The second one was real out there, but it was really good too. And then we got Gremlins, and then we're gonna talk about these spheres they keep finding. I always try to bring you all this weird stuff, you know. Spheres, okay? There's these spheres, I think they're the size of between a baseball and a football. And one crashed in a power line, and they got it. They're like them things of drones or whatever, but they don't know how these are flying. There's another thing I just saw go by. That was a flashy deal there. But they don't know what they are. Okay, they're x-raying them, scientists, and they said there's all kinds of wiring and what's it called? There's a coil, some kind of thing in there. They don't even know how it's working or what the engine or what's propelling or making these fly or whatever. And my hip is bothering me, my right hip. I'm still in pain. But I got the popsicle sticks glued to or taped to the leg rest. Under there is a homemade deal to lift up my leg because the wheelchair company didn't make the wheelchair right. And for 3-4 years, I've been in pain. I got bloody sores on my legs. And I'm serious. It's not good. Fiber optics, yeah, it's inside that ball, this sphere. And there's a couple other ones. They found them in different places. But the weird thing is it actually gained weight. Like it weighed one thing and then it weighed another thing and then it stopped at that certain weight. But how does something gain weight? And they don't know if these are from another planet or another country or what. So check it out, these spheres. And there's some kind of writing. That's another odd thing. They said there's writing on them that predates any other language. Like it predates what we thought was the first languages, and they can't decipher it. So, I mean, again, could be something that people are jumping to a bunch of conclusions on, like all these things, which happens 99% of the time, I'd say. Or it could really be something, you know. And the dude said that when he picked it up and he touched it, it made him sick, and it burned all his fingerprints off, but it wasn't hot, it didn't hurt. He just lost his fingers. And I didn't know you could lose fingerprints or whatever. I don't know if that's possible. I don't even know if I have any. But I can swear, yeah, after I lost my sight a short while later one day, and this was one immediately, it wasn't a slow process. I woke up like the next morning and I felt like my fingerprints were gone or something was different about my fingers. Uh, Weird, like even how I could pick up stuff, like, your fingers are sticky to a certain extent. Like you could touch a piece of paper or a playing card. A lot of times I could pick it up without even, you don't have to wet or lick or anything. And I was strong enough to something in my hands and fingers, and I could pick up heavier objects just by almost touching them like a magnet. But then when I lost my sight, and then whatever happened, it changed how my hands and stuff started to feel and everything. And now my hands are almost like eyes. I almost get images, like I just know by going over something or touching it or getting close to it. It's crazy. But the fingerprint part feels different. And I get obsessively itchy with the fingers and the nails. Like, I don't know, the fingertips. I don't know what that is. It's crazy. All these weird things. And there's no book on this. I lost my sight. I don't know how to deal with it. It was one eye and then the other eye a couple of years after that. So, computer, what are my stickies?
I found 68 notes. Saw 8 Joe Todd move. Remote sphere grumbling scream Smallville 6 Amazon still sucks.
Computer, stop.
Harold?
Okay, so we're talking about all that, and we're going to get to Smallville now. I mean, they're getting good. The last one, I was kind of going down on 5, but 6, and there's 10. So we're on season 6 out of 10. They've set up so much that there's so much to go on, and they're tying it all together. Very good writing on Smallville. Smallville season 6 actually has, there's an episode called Justice where it's almost like a Justice League, and it was better than the Justice League movies. You have Aquaman, you have Cyborg, you have Green Arrow who's leading the deal, and then you have Aquaman, Green Arrow, Cyborg. There was another guy. What are they? I can't remember. Good God. And then Clark, and then you have Martian Manhunter showed up at the end. So there was 5 or 6 of them. Oh, Flash was in there. Okay, that's right. The Flash was in there. So yeah, the Flash got captured by Lex Luthor's company because they're trying to work on mutants and dissect them and all that. Lex and Lana get married. Spoilers. Lana is pregnant. Spoilers. Lana gets killed. Spoilers. There's so much going on in this season. It's crazy. I don't want to give too many spoilers right away. Clark tells Lana his secret. There's another thing. Bizarro comes at the end. Clark gets infected by something and kind of splits a little bit, and he becomes Bizarro. That's how season 6 ends. Lois, it's the Lois and Jimmy show. Jimmy Olsen's in there, and like I mentioned, Green Arrow, and the guy who is Green Arrow is dating Lois, and she doesn't know, and then she finds out later he's a superhero, but he's left. So it kind of links that whole superhero. She likes a superhero, but she's going to eventually be with Clark, Lois. It's very different than the movies and a lot of other things. They're kind of making their own deal up with it, but they're putting all the characters together. And if you became a fan of the show, then you want to check it out because you want to see how they do. And they bring in more and more, like Jimmy. They brought him in like 5 or 6. Jimmy, I think season 5. And that dude, I always thought he was the same guy from played Iceman in X-Men, but that's his brother. I don't know if they're twins or not. I actually tried to get him on the show, but he didn't answer. So, but I thought they were both the same dude, but they look a lot alike. I think when I had sight anyway. But there's 2 different brothers. Yeah, Ashmore is the last name. Sean Ashmore, and I'm not sure the other one. One is Iceman, and one is Jimmy Olsen. But I have had Michael Rosenbaum recently. Go check out that cameo. And we did get the girl who played Supergirl, Laura Vandervoort, and Dean Cain, who played Superman, and Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. He's been on the podcast. So, I'm doing this because celebrities have stories too. Everyone has a story, and you can't judge a book by its cover. So I don't have much money, but when I can, every month I get a cameo, get a podcast of a celebrity, and then you guys can check it out and hear what they got to say. And I'm going to do one on just that. I've met over 100 celebrities in my life at least. A lot in person, going to conventions and doing other things, functions when I was younger, and then now online. So that's another episode there I'm going to do. So I appreciate y'all, and please come back soon. Write in, email, hit the follow on YouTube or subscribe on YouTube, follow TikTok, friend request on there, on Facebook, anything. I just saw some more stuff going by. There's paranormal stuff on there, supernatural, metaphysical, spiritual, and then just movies and music. Lots of stuff here. We got some stuff, brand new Beatles, brand new Bon Jovi, brand new stuff only on the Sullivan Project Podcast music. Can't hear it anywhere else unless they get it here. Taylor Swift, Rihanna, and some movie trailers. We got Tupac has joined. Tupac Shakur's joined the Sullivan Project Podcast. If you want to know what I'm talking about, go check out the pages. All right. I love y'all. And remember, love is a choice, and so is the hate.